What's going on, everybody? As promised, here I am with part 3 of our interview for the airlines. Let me remind you, sit back, relax, and enjoy your flight.
Shooting stars didn't even get to cross.
Well, guys, real quick before we get started, I wanted to give a big shout out to my wife. Currently, I'm in Buffalo, New York, and she had to stay behind in Ohio. I want to give a big shout out to Kayla. I love you, baby, and I'll be home soon. All right, guys, so let's get started with today's video, which I hope it'll be of great benefit to everybody. We're going to be talking about a behavioral interview. In the airlines, having a behavioral interview is what it is. I mean, every single interview I've been with, I'm probably running out of fingers of how many interviews I've done for different positions that I've been able to successfully land over the years. A little bit, last time I told you about my career as a flight attendant, but I failed to mention that I've been in the airline industry since I was 18 years old. I left high school, I worked at a hospital for about 3 months just to get some customer service experience, and then I was able to land a job with Delta Airlines. Initially I started on the ramp, hauling bags everywhere. Then I was able to go up to airport customer service to the gates. I was a gate agent for a while. And afterwards, when I was finally ready to have a full-time job, I was able to go to technical operations and work as a stores clerk with all the airplane parts. And afterwards, when I was able to become a flight attendant, I sat back and I realized that every single interview was the same. You know, things do not change, and it's been awesome because I've had so many interviews that I can now say, hey, I'm pretty good at behavioral interviews. So what I'm going to talk about today is, especially toward the flight attendant, is how to be successful in a behavioral or a STAR method interview. First, let's define what STAR is. STAR is a synonym for situation, task, action, and result. What it means is you're going to tell a story. That's basically what it is. You'll be telling a story. And by that I mean that the interviewers are going to ask you a question, and they generally start with, tell me of a time. And whenever anybody tells you tell me of a time, you're going to automatically think, hey, I'm going to tell a story. So the way STAR works is you're going to tell a story, all right? And you're going to tell them what's going on, the task that you needed to perform, the action that you took, and the result of your actions. And I remember in all my interviews, I always got the same set of questions. Tell me of a time when you had a situation with a supervisor. What happened and what did you do? Then it was, tell me of a time when you had a situation with a coworker. Tell me what happened and what did you do? Tell me of a time when you had a situation with a customer. These are the kinds of questions that you're going to hear. So what I'm going to advise you to do is, before you get ready to head over to your interview, sit down and think about different situations that you've had over the years. I'm going to give you some tips on I'm pretty sure you're not going to be lying during the interview, but you have to be credible. What I mean by that is there's certain little things that involuntarily we do that to an interviewer that is more than likely a psychology major will be able to pick up just like that. And the first thing is, when you're sitting down with the interviewers, look them straight in the eyes. Now, as soon as you sit down, they're going to give you a piece of blank paper and they're going to give you a pen. And I suggest you use it. Take notes, all right? Because both interviewers are going to be dodging things left and right from you. So please write things down so that you can hit those points, all right? So they're going to, first of all, sit down. Let's talk about when you first enter the room. When you first enter the room, shake their hands. A nice firm handshake gets you a long way. So shake their hands and introduce yourself, get their names, and sit down and always maintain eye contact with them. All right, as they're talking to you, maintain eye contact with them. Be engaged with them. You know, they're your audience, and with them being your audience, you need to keep them engaged. All right. And I'm gonna tell you something that a really good friend of mine once told me. If in an interview, an interviewer has to ask follow-up questions like they're trying to pull more information from you, you are not doing the right thing. So make sure that you have your stories are set, that you can back them up. That's why I'm saying you can't lie in these stories, because you got to be able to back them up, because you never know when they might ask a secondary follow-up question and then you're going to be left out to dry. So you sit down and you watch them, all right? You look at them right in the eyes. Look at the person that's talking to you. It's either going to be a flight attendant or a HR representative. So look at them in the eyes, and they're going to ask you, tell me of a time when XYZ, all right? Take about 30 seconds, all right? Don't just shoot off, because if you shoot off, you're going to make a mistake, I guarantee it. So take 30 seconds and think about it, all right? And when you get ready to start answering, make sure you have everything in line and give it to them just like that. Situation, task, action, result. If you give them to them just like that, there are no follow-up questions. Now, I remember when I first started interviewing for the airlines, man, I struggled with that. And I could tell you something, some of the positions that I got, I thought that I had busted, because they were asking me follow-up questions, trying to pull information from me. So what that taught me to do was to take a second. 30 seconds is nothing. And look, these guys have a 30-minute window to interview you. So 30 seconds, think about what you're going to say, jot down some ideas, and go for it. While you're answering, look them in the eyes. Be sincere. Keep a smile on your face. Obviously, if the story moves you in another direction, well then, I mean, go with it. They want to see that you're a real person. And trust me, don't just sit there and tell them what they want to hear. That does not work. Trust me, these guys interview thousands and thousands of people on a monthly basis, and they've heard it all. So just be sincere with them. You know, when I spoke about my situation was pretty raunchy, because I told them that I got mad at the customer. And they sat back and they were like, oh my God. I mean, like, I was honest with them. And when they awarded me with the position, they the HR representative followed me out of the room and pulled me out to the side and said, you know, the one thing that really drove it home for you was that you were honest. You did not hold back. And that's what you have to do. You got to be honest with them. And like I said, be engaging. So you'll sit down, think about what you're going to say, and start telling your story. Make sure you have clear results, because here's what they're looking for. They're looking for people that are customer oriented, business minded, and that are leaders, born leaders. Because on the airplane, we don't have managers. I mean, on the airplanes is a captain, a co-pilot, a flight leader, and flight attendants. That's it. There are no managers on the airplane. You can't run for anybody. I mean, it's not like you can say, okay, I'm going to pick up the phone, call the manager, get him over here. No, it does not happen like that. So they want people that are born leaders, so that you can go out there and they can know that when they close that boarding door, you will be successful in not only completing a very well customer experienced flight, but a safe flight. And it all boils down to leadership. And let me tell you something. I fly as a flight leader. That's my favorite position. I like, I enjoy the responsibility. And again, this may not be your situation. When you get to flying, you may not enjoy the pressures of being a flight leader. I do. I love it. And throughout the years, you fly with the same captains over and over. And there are captains that I'll show up to the flight and they'll look at me and say, oh, Jomar, you know what? Same as last time. Why? Because they know that my leadership skill is there. They know that I am a decisive person. I make a decision, I stick to that decision, and I follow through with that decision. That is what these interviewers are going to be looking for when they're sitting there asking you these behavioral type questions. So again, let's recap. Situation, task, action, and result. If you tell your story in that order, I guarantee you're going to have a successful interview. I really hope that these videos are helping you out. I really hope that you're successful in your quest to becoming a flight attendant. And I know that this is more catered to the Delta Airlines portion of things. But like I said, I've interviewed, I'll go ahead and say it. I've interviewed with American Airlines, I've interviewed with U.S. Airways, and I've interviewed with Compass Airlines. I know what it takes. All of those three airlines, they all offered me a job, and they all got turned down because I, of course, wanted to stay with my home company. And I will tell you this. I hope that you're successful. I really love that you guys are liking these videos. I hope that these videos are beneficial to you. And like I said, I hope you like these videos. Give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please click that subscribe button at the bottom, that red button at the bottom. I really appreciate it. My family really appreciates it. I love you guys, and I'll see you hasta mañana.